Alright, so it's been about 50 days basically since I uploaded. Just didn't really feel like it. Um, this is just a video. It's not gonna be too long, just me talking. Um, basically, been a lot of Twitter talk about Ultracell and whether people, think he is, if he's deserving of a top 5 placement or if he's just barely top 10, like hanging on by a thread. And to me, I'm trying to keep no bias into this because, Cell Glazer, I love Cell. But I think everything Ultracell does in his kit is, like, amazing right now. Like, obviously his tanking, that's the one weak point. But for people to use his defenses as an argument against everything, saying he's just not great because of that, it's just completely invalidated by Full Power Frieza and Namegoku because they just demolish the game. So it makes no sense to why people should thrash Ultracell for his bad defenses when Namegoku will destroy any unit in the game, whether it doesn't matter on your typing anyway. There's no tanky red unit. I mean, you could say Kaioken Goku, sure, because he has a good gauge and all that, good disrupt, but he's not tanky. Like, he's not gonna live a type neutral with Namegoku most of the time. I mean, alright, that might be stretching it, but then we'll go to Full Power Frieza for an example. There's not a single good purple unit right now. Like, there's decent purples. It's not a great one. Full Power Frieza is just going to demolish every unit in the game. He eats them alive. Death Beam? Yeah. And also, just another thing here, too, is if there's a winner from this anniversary. I had to make a quick cut, but what I was saying was, to me, arguably the biggest winner from the anniversary, just straight up, is Ultracell. Ultracell went from, pre-anniversary just to having not really a good team and mostly just being a leader slot merchant. Like, you just slap him in the leader slot with units. Because MVP with his plat is decent. He's not bad. And he works really well with Ultracell. The problem is this units I feel like most units because my friend also brought this up as a good point. Most units pre-damage guard update just aren't too crazy at all. Like, if you run them, like, they're solid, like, they're decent, but like you can see it with units like God Goku now. Even Majin Vegeta just completely falling off now because of them not being able to do anything about, like, they can barely do damage now. I mean, God Goku does decent damage. He has Naomi Green, same thing with Majin Vegeta, where he's more of a snipe merchant, but God Goku gets completely, like, if you want to talk about shredding, God Goku gets completely shredded, actually shredded, and doesn't really provide too much anymore. He isn't worth running, I'd say. Whereas Ultracell, you scroll down, I believe it is right here, yeah. Just perm endurance null, really high damage inflicted. And another, one thing people don't realize when using him is try to save his unique gauge, because because there's a lot of, card cost upping in the meta where you could just save his gauge and then activate it whenever, you need to get a refresh. Just kill off all, what's it called? You just kill off all, debuffs on you, pretty much. Just wipe attribute downgrades and stuff. Now, the one ability of his that's kind of not too useful anymore, especially with Full Power Frieza. Full Power Frieza is definitely, like, the biggest counter to this, is when you get him below 50%, he only seals cards for 3 counts, and it's only Strike and Blast. And then he seals blues and greens when you pop his Endurance and kills 2 enemy Dragon Balls. I like his Endurance popping better than that, because at least you get rid of his Rush. But still, just being able to nullify Endurance passively is where his big value comes in, because there's one pretty good Revival unit, one top 5 unit, and then after that, it's just Revza and Revival UI. It's like, yeah, okay, so we're just not going to talk about those two. They're not crazy. They're good, but they're not crazy. And then another thing too, Ultracell holds a Armor Break card, which, again, that's always going to be good. Only way you counter an Armor Break card is you have you know, armor to go through blast, or straight up like you ignore blast. So Ultra Cell's ultimate, you know, it has that. Also, him getting a vanish back on his ultimate, crazy, you know, very good. This is mostly just me talking about his kit, and I haven't even moved on to his team, because this is one of his better setups. I couldn't say if it's his best or not, because I've been trying a lot of teams. The only downside to this team is Cell obviously still does really good on this team, but he is not getting any of his Ultra ability. Well, he's getting 5% from himself, and then a Zenkai buff from Ape. The biggest issue with this team alone is just that there's 2 units on here that hold double strike. But his 2 best friends, you know, Vegeta and Frieza, I kind of wish, since they made Frieza green, that they made Vegeta a different color. But that's fine. And this isn't just, you know, the only setup you could run Cell on. You could run Cell on a setup like this, where he gets his Ultra ability, and then Frieza's getting some of his while getting all of them get a Zenkai buff, and then Revival Frieza being a solid unit just to have on the team. Here's another setup. You can run Full Power Frieza, who's basically just a watered down Ultra Cell. He's the same thing, but a little weaker. You just run that. You could run this, and I mean, this will work too, but again, it's just double strike cards being held. So it just all comes down to how you feel. This is a fun team to ignore that. But you know, I feel like Ultra Cell handles the meta really well. His damage is still really good. His tanking obviously not that great, but every unit in the game right now is just not good defensive. There's only one actual good defensive character in the meta, and it's Feetku, that's it. Which he does a pretty good job at walling Cell off, but he isn't just a mortal to Cell at all. Like he can still die, get shredded. But again, that's why you save Cell's unique gauge for times like that, where you have a pretty good blue unit. So like right now, Cell's team's pretty good. Cell has great partners, amazing partners. And the biggest issue, I guess, is the Z abilities and Ultra abilities, which is mixing around, because Full Power Frieza's Z ability sucks, his Ultra ability sucks. Cell has a good Z ability, but him having his Ultra ability on androids, I mean, it's clear he was made for androids, but I mean, they kind of just, androids was just handled poorly this year. Like, we got multiple blast unit buffs, but then we get a Zenkai for a strike base unit a month prior to Cell dropping. We get a blast unit plat, which is great for Cell. And then we get Yellow 18, which is not really that good anyways, plus her being strike based, so it doesn't really benefit anything. Purple 17 was solid. He's somewhere around here. He's right here. He's solid. Super 17 was still somewhat runnable, but he's also red. Gammas with their plat. They got their plat back in like September last year, so yeah, they should have Zenkai'd by now. Purple Cell should have been the one to plat instead of Zenkai'ing Purple new or OG Cell. It makes no sense. But yeah, these are my reasons for thinking Cell is still top 5. I think he's not higher than 5. I think he's 5. You could argue him at 6 because UI is still really pretty good. But Cell having his partners, you know, being green, which is what he needed, just helps out so much. So you can tell me if you even watch this far, you can tell me what you think about Ultra Cell. Again, I personally think, from considering I only run Cell, like I run Cell on his teams that are pretty good. I have a pretty good like judgment on him. Also, Overdrive makes him a lot more valuable too, because that's just a non-buff. You can't buff cancel that attack. So you tell me what you think. I don't get the slander.